Okay, so I'm here with James McAteer. McAteer?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Student, junior, College of New Jersey. Interview for documentary production. Photography savant, James McAteer. So I guess my first question is, what got you into photography?
So I would say pretty much my dad had a DSLR camera that he basically got for like when we went on family vacations and stuff like that. And I was always interested in using it, and I used it a little bit on those vacations, but I never really was like into it too much. So I would say kind of breaking into photography that way, but what really pushed me off was when I was senior editor of the yearbook in high school, and obviously had to take a ton of pictures for that, so that kind of got me into the field, I guess you could say.
Okay. Do you see it more as a hobby, or would you consider pursuing it after school is over?
I definitely view it as a hobby right now just because school doesn't give me the time to like pursue it like fully. But I would say that since I'm going into teaching, I'm going to have summers to myself, and I feel like that would be a nice little side job that I can do in the summers to make a little bit extra money, I guess.
What's the best shoot you've ever done? Like where, with who, like what made it like such a good shoot? What made it stand out from everything else you've done?
There's two, if you don't mind, if I
Yeah,
use two.
yeah,
All right,
sure.
so the first one is I am friends with a girl named Alyssa, and she basically hit me up one day and was kind of like, I have a friend, Alan, that lives in New York. He goes to New York Film School, and he works at the Institute for Contemporary Photography, and he's like big into film photography and stuff like that. So she basically asked me if I wanted to come through and just do like a shoot day around like Manhattan and Soho. And I ended up doing that. We ended up hitting Manhattan, West Village, and Brooklyn, like rooftops, like all that kind of stuff all in one day. So that was like an amazing day. That was probably not even just photography, just like in general, one of the best days of my life probably. And then the second one was there's a girl who attends TCNJ that is signed to like a modeling agency, and I was able to work something out with her where her agency let me basically shoot with her kind of like as like a little fun thing to do on the side.
Okay.
And just working with someone who's like actually in the field and has done it like many times before, it was like a lot different feel from me being the person basically telling people what to do. Like she kind of knew what to do already, so it was like much easier in that sense, I guess.
That's interesting. So what does it take to be a successful photographer? Because I know a lot of people like to get into photography, but what kind of makes you, stand out?
That's like a difficult question, I feel like, because I feel like success for photographers really comes in the eye of the beholder almost.
Okay.
Like it's kind of like each photographer has their own view of what makes them who they are essentially. But I would just say as long as your photographs are like coming out crisp and clean and the way you're capturing them is making you happy, I feel like that really distinguishes you as a photographer. Because there's a ton of styles that are like big right now, like portrait photography and all of the neon light photography that's flashy and stuff like that. But I feel like as long as you mold your own perspective and you kind of can convey that through your pictures, I feel like that's really the key, essentially.
Is self-promotion another key for you? With the use of social media, networking, does that definitely help your photography career, I guess?
Yeah, I would say that self-promotion is definitely a big thing. I would say that Instagram is my main like media outlet for doing stuff like that. I'm thinking about breaking into a website soon just to make it more like portfolio-esque rather than like social media. But I would say on Instagram, I've had like many people from TCNJ like following me and reaching out, and it's like I might not even know who they are, but just since we have that affiliation to the same school, it makes it easy for us to like link up and stuff like that. But I would say between people messaging me or me going out a limb and messaging them if I think they have a cool look or I think their style is like unique, that stuff is just promotion in itself. Even though I'm not really doing it in a promotion sense, I'm doing it in a sense that I just want them to like add to my art and like obviously have pictures for themselves to post wherever they want.
It's mutually beneficial.
Yeah, it goes both, like both sides benefits from the whole situation, I feel like.
Okay. I guess the last question I'll ask is just about the TCNJ like photography community in general, because I know it's like kind of becoming bigger. At least I've noticed that. Obviously, Steve, my housemate, does it but I see like you with like a bunch of guys all the time, like shooting and stuff. Like,
Mm.
is there like a camaraderie between you guys, and like how did that kind of start? Like, did you all just one day decide to start shooting together, and then it kind of grew from there?
So I would definitely say that the TCNJ community, as far as photography goes, is very much based on like who shoots for the school and stuff like that. Like it's a lot of people who just work for things like LTV or like the Signal and stuff like that. But I would say that I have a core friend group that I will just like go out whenever I want to go out on a shoot. I'll kind of message them and see if they want to tag along. And through my friend Rock and I, pretty much, we've gotten a lot of our friends kind of become interested in it, whether that is like modeling per se and photography in general. I would say that we got a few of our friends, like one friend actually purchased a camera because he was very interested in like learning from us pretty much. And then another friend I knew, Alyssa as well, actually the one I went to New York with, went home and got her like camera that her parents aren't using anymore, and she pretty much got like my friend Rock and I to like teach her like the ways, I guess you could say. Yeah, the ways, yeah.
How much does all this like go for? Like camera equipment and stuff. It's expensive, right?
Yeah, it's really expensive. So like right now my camera that my dad had isn't that good of a camera, but through all of the connections I've made with people, I've been able to either borrow and or rent like nicer cameras from people. So like right now I'm like very good friends with this kid, and he's letting me like use his Canon 6D, which is like a very good camera.
Yeah.
And I'm like paying him like very little compared to what it would cost renting from like a camera shop or something like that. So that's just my way of doing things.
All right. I guess any like last words of advice for anyone trying to get into photography?
I would just say shooting on manual is like very necessary. I feel like if you want to really show your skill and your perspective as a photographer, you really need to just use manual settings, get used to them, and then pretty much from there on it's basically you showing the world what you got, kinda. So I would say pursue it and just like do the best you can, because I've seen people like the friends I was talking to you about, they've only started a few months ago, and the growth I've seen through just me being like, oh, you might want to change this here and there, or you might want to do this, the growth has been like exponential. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate it.